Your shoulder is the most complex joint in your body. It's a ball and socket joint right through here, but it's comprised of what you call your shoulder girdle. So you have your collarbone, your arm, and your shoulder blade. That's attached by a bony joint right there. The rest of it's all muscles. So your pec, your trap, and your lat are all tug-of-war buddies to determine how your shoulder blade's gonna rest on your body. When you go to reach up, say that's 180 degrees, about 120 of that, come back down, about 120 of that happens through the ball and socket joint here, and about 60 of it will happen from the upward movement of your shoulder blade. That sounds like a simple concept, but most people will do that quite interestingly different, and it is related to how much they're bracing in their trunk. So I just want to go through and show you what I'm talking about. So we'll look at this from the front and the back. When you go to lift your arm up, the first part of that movement's all in the ball and socket joint. As you start to approach 90 degrees, ideally your shoulder blade is moving with it and you do a bit of a reaching up type of movement. Come on back down. Turn around for me. So again, as you start moving, it's happening through the ball and socket joint through here. As you get higher, your whole shoulder blade here ideally reaches up towards the ceiling to get you up close to 90 degrees. So it's a 2/3, 1/3. 2/3 of it happens here, 1/3 of it should happen through this part of you. That's where people start getting messed up based on their posture. So Tiffany was a ballerina. Can you show me what a typical ballerina lifting their arms above their head looks like? Good, and come on back down. You'll see she naturally gripped through here a lot, and a lot of people sometimes have done a lot of yoga, dance, performance-based things, or a lot of, mainly sort of, ballet or dance type sports, are very trained to pull their shoulder blades down as they're lifting their arm up. And usually the act of that will make them kind of bring their arm out to the side, have a hard time getting up into there. Come on back down. Again, trying to facilitate that you can allow this to go upward is different than just like, go ahead and when you start lifting, just hike your shoulder up. Like, there's a difference between, you don't want to hike your shoulder as you go, but in the same way, when you lift your arm up, you don't want to depress it either. So with a lot of these exercises, there is a bit of a middle ground. If you've been overly trained or posturally or tend to be a bit of a back gripper that tends to go this way, you're likely really depressing this while that starts to go up, which just makes you more prone to getting little rotator cuff impingements in your shoulder and can start to irritate some of the nerves. So pull down as you reach up. If you're overly doing that, it can start to irritate the nerves that go through here, which are all the electrical wiring down your arm, can start being part of what can give you tennis elbow or carpal tunnel issues or tingling in your fingers. So trying to get a little bit better awareness of when you move your arms up, how that relates to your trunk posture, and that it's not necessarily the best to just pull it down as far as you can. There is a middle ground, which we'll get to in some of the exercises. Your shoulder is your most complex joint biomechanically. This is what you call your shoulder girdle, which is your collarbone, your arm, and your shoulder blade. It attaches by a bony joint where your collarbone meets your sternum right there, and the rest of it's all muscles. You have your pec in the front, your upper trap in the back, and your lat underneath here. They're all big tug-of-war buddies to determine how your shoulder is going to kind of rest on your body. So when you go to lift your arm up above your head, go all the way up through here, say that's about 180 degrees. About 120 of that happen through the ball and socket joint, and about 60 of it happens from the upward rotation of your shoulder blade as you go up. Now, people tend to have, based on posturally how you hold yourself, what you've done, if you've been a ballerina or a tennis player or a badminton player, how you use your shoulder will vary. But generally, there's sort of a 2/3, 1/3. As I said, when the first part of it is ball and socket, and then the shoulder starts to go up. When you start developing a lot of tension into your upper traps or overusing your rhomboids, it can affect that 2/3, 1/3 ratio, and you can end up creating little pinching points in your rotator cuff. If you're trying to think chest up, shoulders down, and pinch this down, so if you're trying your best to pull your shoulder blade down while your arm goes up, it's very easy to start trying to irritate your rotator cuff in there, and all the nerves that come out of your neck that do the electrical wiring to your arm can start getting a little bit irritated under your collarbones. You can start getting tennis elbow and nervy arm and hand things if you're overly depressing your shoulder when you're trying to reach up.